The rain poured relentlessly, drenching the cobblestone streets of Delphos as Detective Edward Hartley made his way towards the grand entrance of the city's police headquarters. His footsteps echoed in the empty corridor, a haunting reminder of the solitude that consumed him. Hartley was a man of few words, his troubled past etched into the lines on his face, a constant reminder of the demons that haunted him. As he entered the dimly lit office, the smell of stale coffee and old case files filled the air. Superintendent Thompson, a stout man with a gruff demeanor, sat behind a cluttered desk, his eyes fixed on a newspaper. Without looking up, he motioned for Hartley to take a seat. "Edward, we've got a case," Thompson finally spoke, his voice heavy with the weight of the city's secrets. "A prominent politician was found dead in his study this morning. The circumstances are suspicious, to say the least." Hartley's eyes narrowed, his keen intellect already piecing together the fragments of information. "Who was he?" he asked, his voice calm and measured. "Robert Kingsley," Thompson replied, his tone tinged with a mix of respect and disdain. "A man of great influence, or so it seemed. But in this city, power is often an illusion." Hartley's mind raced, his thoughts consumed by the enigma that was Delphos. A city where opulence and poverty coexisted, where the lines between good and evil were blurred. A place where the illusion of power held sway over the minds of men. As Hartley delved into the case, he realized that the death of Robert Kingsley was merely the tip of the iceberg. A complex network of influential figures emerged, each with their own secrets and motives. The illusion of power became a central theme, as Hartley questioned who truly held the reins of authority in this city of shadows. The investigation led Hartley through the lavish mansions of the elite, where the illusion of power was carefully crafted and maintained. But it also took him to the grimy back alleys of the slums, where the illusion was shattered, revealing the stark reality of those who lived in the shadows. With each step, Hartley uncovered evidence that suggested the politician's death was not as straightforward as it seemed. A larger conspiracy began to take shape, one that threatened to tear apart the delicate fabric of Delphos. The illusion of power was a dangerous game, and Hartley was determined to expose the puppeteers pulling the strings. As the rain continued to pour outside, Hartley found himself consumed by the investigation. The illusion of power became a relentless adversary, testing his resolve and pushing him to the edge of his sanity. But Hartley was no stranger to darkness, and he knew that to confront the illusions, he must first confront his own demons. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the city of Delphos as Detective Edward Hartley continued his relentless pursuit of the truth. The investigation into the suspicious death of the prominent politician had taken him deep into the heart of the city's dark underbelly, where power and corruption intertwined like the roots of an ancient tree. Hartley's footsteps echoed through the dimly lit alleyways as he made his way to a clandestine meeting with an informant. The air was thick with tension, and he could feel the weight of the city's secrets pressing down on him. The illusion of power had never been more palpable, as he questioned who truly held the reins of authority in Delphos. His informant, a shadowy figure known only as the Whisperer, emerged from the darkness. Their face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat and a scarf wrapped tightly around their mouth, they spoke in hushed tones, revealing fragments of a larger conspiracy. Hartley listened intently, his mind racing to connect the dots. As Hartley delved deeper into the web of influential figures, he encountered various obstacles and attempts on his life. It became clear that those who appeared to hold power were merely puppets in a larger game, their strings pulled by unseen hands. The illusion of control was shattered, and Hartley realized that the pursuit of power had led to corruption within the city's highest ranks. The lines between good and evil blurred as Hartley uncovered the extent of the deception. He saw the faces of those he once trusted, now stained with the taint of greed and personal ambition. The city of Delphos, with its opulent mansions and grimy back alleys, became a reflection of the stark contrast between appearances and reality. Haunted by his troubled past, Hartley found himself drawn deeper into the darkness. His vulnerabilities threatened to consume him, but he pressed on, determined to bring the truth to light. The illusion of power had ensnared him, but he refused to be its victim. With each step closer to the truth, Hartley's resolve grew stronger. He knew that the consequences of unchecked power were far-reaching, and he was willing to risk everything to expose the mastermind behind the conspiracy. The city of Delphos trembled as Hartley prepared to confront the puppeteer, the one who had manipulated the illusion of power for their own gain. The final showdown was a whirlwind of danger and deception. Hartley found himself in a deadly game of cat and mouse, where the lines between friend and foe blurred with every passing moment. Unexpected twists and turns tested his resolve, but he refused to waver. In the midst of the chaos, Hartley's troubled past resurfaced, threatening to derail his pursuit of justice. But he knew that he had come too far to turn back now. He had to confront his own illusions, face the demons that haunted him, and make a choice that would redefine his understanding of power and justice. As the truth behind the politician's death was exposed, the consequences of unchecked power reverberated through the city. The illusions shattered, leaving behind a landscape forever changed. Hartley stood at the precipice, his decision weighing heavily on his shoulders. In the end, Hartley made a choice that would have far-reaching consequences. He understood that true power lay not in the illusion of control, but in the pursuit of justice and the preservation of truth. The city of Delphos would never be the same, but perhaps, in the aftermath of the chaos, a new era would dawn. The rain poured down relentlessly, drenching the city of Delphos in a cloak of darkness as Detective Edward Hartley made his way to the final confrontation. The mastermind behind the conspiracy had been revealed, and Hartley knew that the illusions of power were about to be shattered. The dilapidated warehouse stood like a sentinel, its crumbling walls a stark contrast to the opulence that had once defined Delphos. Hartley stepped inside, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. The air was heavy with the scent of dampness and decay, mirroring the corruption that had seeped into every corner of the city. A figure emerged from the shadows, their face obscured by a mask of power and authority. The mastermind, the puppeteer who had manipulated the illusion of power for their own gain, stood before Hartley, their eyes gleaming with a twisted sense of satisfaction. "You've come a long way, detective," the mastermind sneered, their voice dripping with arrogance. "But do you truly believe you can stop me? The illusion of power is a game I have mastered." Hartley's gaze hardened, his resolve unyielding. He had seen the consequences of unchecked power, the lives shattered in its wake. He knew that he had to confront his own illusions, to face the demons that haunted him, if he were to bring true justice to Delphos. "You may have played your games well," Hartley replied, his voice steady and resolute. "But the illusion of power is just that, an illusion. And illusions can be shattered." A thrilling showdown ensued, a dance of wits and strategy. Hartley and the mastermind circled each other, each move calculated, each word chosen with care. The lines between truth and deception blurred, as unexpected twists and turns threatened to derail Hartley's pursuit of justice. In the midst of the chaos, Hartley's vulnerabilities were laid bare. His troubled past, the demons that had haunted him for years, threatened to consume him. But he refused to let them define him. He had come too far to be swayed by the illusions that had plagued his own mind. As the battle raged on, the true motives behind the politician's death were exposed. The mastermind's web of deceit unraveled, revealing a tapestry of corruption and greed that had ensnared the city of Delphos. The consequences of unchecked power were laid bare, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Hartley stood at a crossroads, his decision weighing heavily on his shoulders. He had the power to bring the mastermind to justice, to dismantle the illusion of power that had held Delphos captive. But he also knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and sacrifice. In a moment of clarity, Hartley made his choice. He understood that true power lay not in the manipulation of others, but in the pursuit of justice and the preservation of truth. With every fiber of his being, he vowed to bring the mastermind to their knees, to expose the illusions that had plagued Delphos for far too long. As the final confrontation reached its climax, the warehouse echoed with the sound of shattered illusions. The mastermind's mask slipped, revealing the face of a desperate individual clinging to a fading dream of power. And in that moment, Hartley realized that the illusion of power was nothing more than a mirage, a fleeting shadow that crumbled in the face of truth. As the dust settled and the echoes of the battle faded, Hartley emerged from the warehouse, his steps heavy with the weight of what had been lost and what had been gained. The city of Delphos would never be the same, but perhaps, in the aftermath of the chaos, a new era would dawn.